right, you're coming back. All right, I will quickly share my screen just to kick off, and then I'll give the word to Peter. My computer is not being very reactive. Okay, so what are we doing today? Today, this is the agenda for today. We should finish by 1, but as always, if we finish beforehand, that's totally okay. We will have first we will have a presentation by Birox, so by Peter. Apologies for the mispronunciation, Peter, but he will definitely tell you more about this project and how to properly pronounce it. Then we will have Dominic Sandy, our head of team, introduce you a matchmaking event that we would like to organize together with the commission back to the NEB festival. We will discuss the upcoming activities, and if there's maybe people that did not attend the Berlin study visit, we can also say a couple of words about that. And then we will close the meeting. So I think we can already start. And Peter, I will give the word to you, but maybe before we start, I don't know if the people in the online room would like to at least say name and where they're from, so that you also have an idea of who's in the room. I will stop sharing my screen. So if you have any slides, you can feel free to share yours. All right. You let me know if you have any technical issues, Peter.
No, it should be fine. I'm sharing my screen now, and I hope that everybody can see. Yeah, what we have here. You see that building and the topic of modern reuse. Thank you very much for the invitation. Quickly to introduce myself and to introduce the office that I'm running. My name is Peter Winter. I'm from Berlin, Germany, and together with my office partner Robert Huber, we are running a rather small architecture urban planning project development business, a small company called Zukunftsgeräusche, which is a very hard German word even for Germans to pronounce. I'm sorry for that. And also the BHROX, the Brox. That's the building that you can see here on the picture. It's we have somehow we chose to choose very hard to pronounce titles somehow and abbreviations. What are we doing, and why am I talking to you today? I want to give you a little insight into the work that we are doing, because Mara in the beginning was wondering if I could share a little bit of the work that we're doing, especially with the networks and the educational parts that we're involving in the building projects that we're doing. And I would like to show you just quickly today. I try to keep it in the time. 3 projects, and the BHROX is one of these 3 projects. Where we are basically, and the title says it here already, reusing building elements in the framework of educational construction sites. So when it comes to reuse in building elements, or like reuse in in architectural practice, most people would understand even in the professional field, something like the reuse of pallets or the reuse of old water bottles, like basically elements that are ready-made and are not common in a building sector to be used to construct new structures and new elements out of them. This is not the focus that we have. The focus that we are having in the idea also of the new European Bauhaus sustainability goals is to reduce the amount of waste that is being produced. And you might all know the amount produced by the building industry is like taking the biggest portion of all of the CO2 production, but also of the waste that is being produced. And our focus is to really take a look at building elements, discarded materials that are coming out of the destruction and disassembly and dismantling of all the structures and on different scales. As you can see here, for example, this is the deconstruction that happens in Munich, in Germany. This is the Olympic Village that is being disassembled from the former Olympic Games. And here we come to the first project that we did back in 2008. We started to take a look at this disassembly, and we're taking a look at the amount of materials that was basically discarded. And this is the Plattenvereinigung. Sorry, the German word. It would be the translation would probably be concrete slab reunification. So what did we do? We were taking a look at old structures that are being torn down. And here you can see in Frankfurt Oder, which is not the Frankfurt in West Germany, but the East Germany also has a Frankfurt, formerly East Germany. And those are two residential high rises that were being dismantled. And we were able to acquire some of these slabs that you can see here in a modular fashion. We were able to acquire them, transport them to Berlin. And here again, this is the Olympic Village in Munich. You can see here on the bottom, which was also disassembled. Here you can see this is also a concrete slab construction. And these elements we also secured, and we were transporting them, the slabs from Munich, from formerly West Germany, and the slabs from Frankfurt Oder, formerly East Germany. We transported them to Berlin. And what we did here, and this is where we come to the idea of our educational construction site. First of all, we did a research on those elements. We took them like they came, basically from the disassembly. We worked together with a technical university, so students for building physics and building chemistry were really taking a look at these elements and were really researching them and testing for their durability, for their strength, for their composition, for material faults. And we did a 2-year study on these elements, and together with students from the university and apprentices from different schools in Berlin, we were able to come up with a design and constructed basically a temporary pavilion that you can see here in the background. This is the building of the Plattenvereinigung, which now combines these building parts from East Germany and West Germany. The interesting point here is that we have basically two different concrete slab systems from East and West Germany that have been produced in different factories with different standards at different times. And what we wanted to show is like that it's possible to reassemble them, to put them together. Basically, this is a very easy system, almost like an IKEA shelf, if you want to break it down like this. And it's possible to basically come up with an experimental structure like this, a 2-story pavilion that was used. Here you can see it assembled in the construction hall of the Peter Behrens Halle in Berlin. It was used for different events. You can see here, this is a theater performance that we were having with the Maxim Gorki Theater. But the most important part for us was not just the program that happens in that building that we want to fill with life, but also we want to show that we can assemble and disassemble this whole pavilion. Here you can see the preparation for the foundations, the whole building was taken apart and transported to the former airfield, the Tempelhof airfield. You might know that is the former airport in the city center of Berlin, really in the heart of Berlin, which has been basically is not used as an airport anymore since 2008, and now it's a big park. And some projects were able to be put there temporarily. For example, the building of the Plattenvereinigung. Here you can see now, for example, we have a big screen also installed. This was, we had different artists using the building, having exhibitions, discussion series, but also open air film festival and theater festival. That's why we have that screen installed there. And here you can see again the apprentices were able to disassemble the whole building once again and reassemble it within 2 weeks on another spot of the Tempelhof Airport. And that's where it's actually in its current location and is still being used and is still being run mostly by us. But we have a lot of artists and a lot of students who are coming here for different events, mostly in the summer because it's not a heated building. Something that we want to give back basically to the people of Berlin to have something rain protected on the Tempelhof Airport. But as we could see here is what did we want to achieve? We wanted to achieve a kind of recognition for old building parts and old building elements. And we wanted to face young apprentices and young students already during their education, in the beginning of their learning and in the beginning of their professional practice. We wanted to face them with the idea of handling elements. What does it take to reuse building parts? What kind of standards do we have to come up with? What kind of logistics are necessary to do a project like this? That's why this is an experimental pavilion, but the study that we were making together with the Technical University of Berlin is public also and can be downloaded on our homepage, and basically was leading to some hard facts that we could basically calculate in terms of CO2 production, but also in economical terms. So basically, what our study was showing is that you can save up to 30% cost of the raw building construction if you decide to use old concrete slabs in your new construction. If the disassembly of the new of the former building is in the proximity of around 100 kilometers. This is just, there's a lot of findings, but this is just one like rough finding I can give you already, but it can all be read in the study that we did. Another project would be the Bauhaus reuse, and the Bauhaus reuse is a project that we did in the beginning of 2010. You may all now know the famous Bauhaus University building in Dessau, like in formerly East Germany, not so far away from Berlin. This is in its current status. It's a UNESCO World Heritage and a school that was basically formed by Walter Gropius. And this is how it's in its current status, renovated building. But when it was formed in 1926, it was only a few years used as a school until the Nazis basically took over the whole school and the whole premises, and it was heavily damaged during the Second World War. After the Second World War, it was basically shut down and not used anymore. There was no money for repairing it. Only in 1976, there was a renovation that basically was able to use the old building plans and the original drawings and reconstruct the whole building and the whole facade elements in the very same manner and in the same dimensions and the same quality like the original from 1976. And this building is still standing until today, but it underwent another renovation, and that renovation happened in 2010. The renovation in 2010 happened because from 1976 to 2010, a lot of laws were changing. We have energy conservation laws and single glazed windows, for example, single pane windows are not allowed anymore in public buildings because there's too much energy transmission and too much loss of heat and cold in the summer. That's why the whole facade had to be changed. And that's when the foundation of the Bauhaus Dessau was asking us if we would like to take those facade elements, those old facade elements, and instead of them just discarding them and putting them into the metal trash, basically into glass trash, if we would like to reuse them and make a new project out of it. So that's why we transported the north facade and the Trellerhaus facade, that's the building you just saw at the last. We transported them to Berlin, part of the facade. And here you can see we came up again with an educational construction site, worked together with the so-called Knobelsdorf School here in Berlin, which is a school and apprenticeship um, vocational training school for all different trades of the building industry. So we have concrete construction, metalworking, plumbing, electricity, solar engineers. If you're a young student and you want to do an apprenticeship, you can go to that school. And basically, in the time, this was 2013, 2014, we were designing together with the students and the apprentices. And here you can see these old window elements. We were coming up with this building, which is called the Bauhaus Reuse. And here you can see also the old doors and the old facade elements in a complete new setup. This is a glass cube that is used as as an exhibition space and as a workshop and seminar room here on its first site at the Bauhaus Archive in Berlin. Over 200 apprentices were basically involved in the detailing and in the planning with us and also in the construction. Every part of this building has been constructed completely by apprentices and completely by young students, clearly under the supervision of the teachers and of us. But basically, this is something we wanted to share with that young generation. Now, those students that were working in 2013, 2014 on that building are professionals working in other companies, and some of them we still stay in contact with them are also running their own companies specialized in reusing of facade elements, doors, and metal parts. The building, as you can see it here now, was disassembled in 2018, and that's where we come to the hard to pronounce BHROX. It basically means Bauhaus reuse outside the box. And we reconstructed the whole building on the Ernst-Reuter-Platz. And the Ernst-Reuter-Platz is also central here in Berlin. It's a roundabout. It's a central island of a roundabout, a very uncommon place to put a building. But we have this structure here for a temporary basis for in a total of 9 years. We were allowed to put the building here on the Ernst-Reuter-Platz, and it's still there and still being used as an exhibition space. We have different festivals. We have in the years that we were using it, even during Corona, the Corona crisis, where we had to shut down all events and all usage, we were basically able to gather guests and have different exhibitions, different seminars, different workshops. We're working here together not only with the apprenticeship school of the Knobelsdorf School and the students, but also, as you can see, this is different pictures of different exhibitions that happened over the years. But as you can see, this is basically a glass cube, and as you would probably also imagine it acting like a greenhouse. So we had to think of some ways to have a cooling and a heating in the winter so that it's going to be usable over the whole year. And once again, we were working together with students from the building physics and the building chemistry that were basically doing the calculations of how to ventilate the building, how to, in which terms to open the windows, what kind of openings we need in the roof for the exhaustion of the warm accumulated air, but also what kind of curtains we would need for sun protection and for heating intake. You're very welcome during your next Berlin visit. I think it was initially ideally the idea to have parts of the Berlin workshop in that building, but because of different constraints in the schedule, it didn't work out. But you're very welcome to visit it during this year. We're still on the Ernst-Reuter-Platz, and we're actually asking if we can prolong our stay a little bit longer, some more years, because we have a lot of visitors, and the district of Charlottenburg-Wilmersdorf, which is the district where we're located, is very happy about the program that we're doing there, the kind of education that we're doing there, together with the universities, but also together with the district of Charlottenburg-Wilmersdorf. We're having different discussion series on reusability of building parts. Clearly, that's our focus, but also about how to change the current city into a more healthy and into a more sustainable city when it comes to the change in the mobility and change of the car car usage within the city and the addition of bicycle lanes within the city. Those are all topics that are openly discussed with us in the building here. And the last third project I would like to show you would be a project which is also located on the Tempelhof Airport, which is completely completely planned and completely executed also with students from different apprenticeship schools, which is called the Luftschloss. The Luftschloss is um, the German term for basically an idea. But the theater of one theater in Berlin, which is called the Atze Theater, came to us and asked us if we could construct youth and children theater on the Tempelhof Airport to basically give back also to the community the kind of open space and the kind of usability that they would expect on such an open field. And we were designing together with apprentices a wooden construction that can be disassembled and reassembled completely. A wooden construction that basically consists of a stage, the main center stage, big atrium where the guests can sit, as well as a little cafe and back rooms for the storage and for the preparation of the plays that are being done here. And you can see some of the aerial images during the construction phase, which was going very quick within the runtime of 4 weeks. This was constructed on the Tempelhof Airport, and because of its special location, here you can see how it's finished. It's a big usable theater on the airport. And because of its special location on the airport, it is a very finicky legal position that we have here, because we introduced a law some years ago that on the Tempelhof Airport, no permanent structure is allowed to be constructed anymore. That's why the Luftschloss theater that you see here is designed to be disassembled and reassembled every year. So every year, this year will be the 4th time it's going to be reassembled. This pictures here are from the first phase. Every year it's going to be disassembled and reassembled on the field. This is due to the idea we could not get a building permission for the Tempelhof Airport. That's why the theater said they would go through the hoops and the difficulties to certify the building as a so-called fliegender Bau. Fliegender Bau in German is the term for a structure that is meant to be assembled and reassembled and only has a usage period of the maximum of 3 to 6 months. Normally, this would be used for something like fairs or Ferris wheels, roller coasters, something that is constructed for like a short term. Those are normally the terms and the buildings that are being run under this kind of permit. And we were able to basically get a permit like this for a whole theater. And also the whole building process, the planning process, as well as the process of the permission. We were going through also with the students from the different apprenticeship schools and also university students that were involved to basically here we don't have a reuse of building parts. We were basically producing reusable building parts. And this is the idea also for the young students who are now professionals as well, that we came up with um, in different projects to basically guide them on their young journey and their young education, to have them get in touch with these kinds of new concepts that we definitely have to think of more often in the future, especially if we want to follow the sustainability goals of the new European Bauhaus. And yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick overview about three of those projects that we did. And clearly, if you have some questions, you're happy to ask me anything. And you're very welcome in Berlin to join us. And we can meet up. I can show you these projects and definitely can have a deeper discussion when we're in, for example, in the Bauhaus reuse. Thank you.
So much, Peter, for your introduction to your work, and for also showing the different perspectives on reusing materials, but also producing something that can be reused. I think that's very interesting. I will give the floor to the members in case they have questions. We didn't do a proper introduction, but we have members here from Croatia, from Portugal, from Italy. So if you have a question, feel free to maybe also say where you're from and go ahead with your question. Feel free to just unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Claudia. I'm a landscape architect from Portugal, Azores. I liked very much the introduction and the project. And I would like to know if the students are from what universities or what professional schools? What kind of students do you have? For instance, is construction or electricity or thermics or?
So for these projects that I was showing you, the students of we have two different categories of students. We have the students that are coming from the apprenticeship schools, and they are from different professions. Those were from concrete construction, from metal construction, plumbing, electricity, solar installation, like building energy contribution, basically. And as well as they also have a little side with architectural planning, building permissions that were being taught there. And the second side would be the professionals, the students from the universities. And those were students from the university, the Technical University in Berlin, the Institute for Architecture. So clearly they would be architecture students. But within the Institute of Architecture, we have different categories. So some of them were there's a lab for sustainable construction and usage of natural materials. we're going with them, and we're doing the planning of the wooden constructions, for example. And also there's different fields for urban planning and for planning for research facilities and healthcare field, basically. And they were doing with us the construction, also in the aspect of like lighting, ventilation, basically the whole harmonics that is necessary to have the people have the building usable, because you have to understand these structures are experimental buildings. Those are not meant to be mass produced. Those are like experimental tryout facilities where students can come and try out different things, do blower door tests, to different tests of sun intake and different materials for solar protection, for example. And the findings of these studies that are being done, those are being taken into the institutes themselves and being used for further publication. Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. It's a very good point also that the studies then are public domain, I assume, no? So it's a win-win on both sides. Anybody else?
Yes, maybe I can go. I'm Rita. I'm also from Azores with Claudia. I'm an architect, and I was thinking about, for example, the Portuguese legislation. We have all the system so that you have like long-term constructions. I don't think we have legislation for unless it is like an expo or something, but we don't really have legislation for something to be constructed and not demolished, deconstructed in time. And I think we have to think about it. It's something that I think is getting very, very nowadays or to the future. What do you think, Peter?
I think that's very interesting. I don't know about the Portuguese legislations, but I know from the work that we were doing over the years that the legislation in Germany definitely have changed. So when we were beginning with the first project I showed you in 2008, 2009, this was actually reuse of building slabs. This was something, at least in Germany, nobody has done before, or like not on an experimental scale like this, just theoretical. And right now there is actually in the current laws, there is legislations on how to use or reuse building parts. This is something that people now saw that is viable. It's, you know, and when it comes to politics, it also has to be economically feasible to a certain degree. And this is something that is now being funded in Germany. There's different funding programs in different federal countries in Germany, where you're basically rewarded for reusing old building elements, and they don't give a basically hard categories which kind of elements you have to reuse. So it could be whole walls, it could be old roof tile, it could be windows, window pane, it could be doors. Basically something that is being saved from the demolishing of other constructions, and also something that can be studied and can be reused again. And the New European Bauhaus also is we know, because we're part of this, and this is Europe-wide, the House Europe project, that basically says the memorandum to not demolish buildings, but to rather research and study them, to how can they be reused, yeah, to save basically costs and materials for the new construction. We are also part of the House Europe network, and we're also supporting this. And when it comes to the reuse, reduce cycle, the reuse comes before, comes after the reduced. So ideally, a building does not have to be demolished to be made usable again. But when it's being demolished, then at least we should take a look of what kind of waste materials we can then use. And this is definitely something that also reached the political positions here in Germany right now, and got a big push in the last years, which I think is a very, very, very good thing. Even though the House Europe, I don't know if they've finished collecting all their signatures the last time, but it's something we also definitely promote.
Amazing. Thanks, Peter, for your answer. I think we're a bit tight on time. Well, not necessarily time tight, but I think I don't know, Peter, you have other commitments, but I wanted to ask whether there is maybe one last question before we would free him. In the meantime, Peter, I was wondering whether it would be okay for you to send us the presentation so we can share it with the group.
Yeah, no problem. I will do that.
All right. Just maybe one question from our side. The last one was, how did this all started with? Like, was it personal motivation from you and your colleague, or was it something else that kicked this off?
Yeah, this was my colleague and me. We were studying together. We studied together in Germany and in China. And in China, we basically formed the office together. And when we came back to Germany, this was something we were very keen of because we were taking a look at construction sites and visiting construction sites, and we were just wondering, like, why does so much energy put into disassembling buildings, and then you have to put another energy to basically destroy the concrete, to make gravel out of it, to reuse it then in the construction of the highway, for example. And we just thought that that's crazy to put energy into something that needs energy to be built for something else that needs energy. So we thought, okay, let's just intervene in that one part here, and then let's see where we can end. And we actually got a lot of support from the different foundations in Germany that were funding these projects, and also right now from the district. And we're seeing that we're actually also having the same ideas and also being supported now on a European wide scale with the House Europe project, and very happy.
Very cool, very cool, and inspiring to see that just out of personal motivation you can make something this big. Congratulations and thank you so much. And I don't know if in the next days there's maybe more questions. I guess can we just write to you, Peter?
Sure, anytime.
All right.
Anytime.
Thanks. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
very
time
much.
today.
Okay.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Peter. Bye. Dom, if you're with us, maybe we can move on towards the matchmaking event.
I am indeed. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, so this is a little bit of a presentation around a session that is taking place at the New European Bauhaus Festival in June, and an invitation for you to be involved, basically. We, as ICLE, work with the European Innovation Council, which is part of the European Commission. It is a platform or a space where some of the leading startups and SMEs from across Europe can receive support and funding to upscale their enterprises, and we work with them particularly in the Innovation Procurement Programme. So this is a program that links these startups with public buyers to enable the use of innovation procurement to address unmet challenges in the public sector. And as part of that, we are looking to organise a session at the New European Bauhaus Festival, which is taking place in June. This particular session would take place on Thursday, the 11th of June. And the idea is that it is a matchmaking between public buyers and innovative SMEs that are working to address challenges related to the New European Bauhaus. And so when having these discussions with the European Innovation Council, this group obviously came to mind as one that is particularly relevant to participate in that. I think for your perspective, we hope it would be a really good opportunity for you to be able to explain to startups working in a variety of sectors that are linked to the New European Bauhaus, the challenges that you have as public authorities, the specific needs that you have that aren't currently addressed and that could be addressed by innovative startups. So the idea is that there is this opportunity for you as buyers to help shape the challenge that the innovators respond to. So we have a couple of topics that are kind of predefined to a certain extent as ones that are particularly of interest to the European Innovation Council, but are also areas where they have a lot of startups working and developing solutions. And I'll place them briefly in the chat for you so that you can see. But these are related, they're quite broad. They are related to neighborhood scale, nature-based urban cooling solutions and district heating and cooling innovations in general. So these are very broad. The hope is that they resonate with some of the work that you're doing and that you would want to help us shape more specific challenges that we could then put forward to the European Innovation Council. The participation from your side would be to help us to shape these challenges and then to pre-select a short list of European Innovation Council companies whose solutions are of interest and address your challenges, and then obviously be present at the New European Bauhaus Festival event to listen to those pitches, to present your own challenges, and hopefully interact in some meaningful dialogue to really better understand the innovations that are happening in these spaces that could be really relevant for you. The other benefit, I think, is that this is a really good opportunity to sort of engage directly with those suppliers as part of the work that you're doing within this community and in general on the public procurement side of things, to understand some of the innovations that are happening in this space, but also how you can engage in procurement exercises that see those innovations put forward to address the challenges that you have. So we're in kind of the stages of planning and preparing at this point. We would really like to understand if there's interest from members of this community of practice to actively participate in this event, both from the kind of buyer side and presenting your challenges, but also from observing the session and hearing some of the innovations that are taking place that may enable you to address some of the challenges that you face, but also bearing in mind the pillars of the New European Bauhaus that are obviously addressed within the work that you're doing in this community. So the reason for presenting to you today is obviously to make you aware of the opportunity. I can share with you the concept note that's been developed, and my biggest request really is that if you are interested, to let us know either immediately or once you've heard more and read the concept note, to let Delphina and Mara know. And we'd really like to have you on board. We think the work that you've done within the community so far, the focuses that you have in your own cities and procuring authorities, your local administrations, would bring some real interest and value to the matchmaking event, and think it's a really great opportunity for you to to be involved and to have access to some of the leading innovators across Europe developing solutions that can hopefully address the challenges that you share, both in relation to urban cooling and district heating and cooling. So this is my pitch to you. Hopefully it is of interest and that piqued some of your interest. But we have a bit of time, I think. I don't know where you are on the agenda, but I think we have a bit of time to answer any questions. And then I'll also promise to share with you our concept note so that you can read a little bit more and hopefully agree to participate and join us in collaborating with the European Innovation Council.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, Claudia, I was going to ask if there's any immediate reactions to this.
I have some doubts. What do you mean when you talk about district heating and cooling? District is a large scale, broader than a neighborhood, is that?
It could be neighborhood. I think we can define it as you see fit. These are quite high level challenges. It goes beyond the building scale, but I think beyond that, it's open to interpretation. So it could be in neighborhood or kind of block or something along those lines.
But it's bigger than neighborhood or smaller?
No,
or,
I think
it can be some other bigger or smaller. Yes.
Bigger or smaller, bigger than the building scale.
Okay.
But beyond that, open to interpretation.
All right.
And
yeah,
another the heating and cooling innovation, it's about the buildings, and the neighborhood scale nature-based urban cooling solution, it's about the public space, isn't it? Okay.
Broadly, absolutely. Yep.
The first is about the public space and the second is about the buildings.
Indeed, yes.
Okay.
But really here, because as you can see, the topics are fairly broad. If there's something within that much more specific that you're working on or that you have a particular interest in, then we can define the actual challenge to be something that really meets those needs. So I think broadly we're thinking about urban cooling, district heating and cooling for buildings, but if there's something within that specifically that you're interested in, we can then narrow down what the challenge is and present that to the European Innovation Council. And that way you get presentations and pitches by suppliers who are really focused on the challenge that you face.
All right. Dom, maybe we can discuss this more internally, of course, but perhaps we can have a bit of can put all this information in an email with the concept note and send it out to the group. We can set an internal deadline, also to inform the others that couldn't attend today. Set an internal deadline and then gather all interests also to, I guess there's two different, if I understood it correctly, there's two different types of interests that we can have. One as a more active participant, let's say, where you can help shape basically the challenges and participate in the selection of the attendees. And the other one is merely just as an attendee, basically, like on the public sector side, if I understood correctly. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. So one of the reasons why this was particularly a good opportunity we felt is because you as a community are already looking at when to attend in the week of the New European Bauhaus Festival. So that made sense. So there's obviously the opportunity then to attend the session, but we would also like those of you who see real relevance to your work to participate in the actual session itself. What I would say is that it's not a huge amount of obligation to participate actively. there's a little bit in terms of the preparation, sharing with us your specific challenge related to these topics, and then helping us to narrow down the companies that will present. But it shouldn't be a huge undertaking, so don't be put off if you think that this is an extra obligation you're signing up to. We can support, and there's not a huge amount of work required on your side.
That's great. Thanks for presenting, Don, this opportunity. I don't know if there's any other question or remark.
Maybe I can just then, if there's not, add one final thing, is that we had a similar session at the first annual event of the Big Buyers project in Brussels in April 2024. And so that one was focused on slightly different areas. It kind of covered solutions for waste management, and was related also to the heavy duty electric vehicle community. And there, I think the feedback was that the pictures were really relevant, and it helped a little bit to shape some of the direction that the work went in for those communities. So hopefully this will be interesting on an individual basis, in that it can help you understand innovations related to some particular challenges your local government might face, but then also contribute to the wider body of work that's being done by the community.
Great.
And then finally, just thank you for your time, and I hope your meeting so far is going well.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for your time as well. And if you guys have no more questions, trying to read the room. No? Okay. Then I guess we can move on to the last point of the agenda today. I will share my screen once again. All right. I hope everybody can see it. All right. So I think most people that were here today were in Berlin, apart from a couple of attendees today. But just very briefly to this sort of reminder for those that weren't at the beginning of the year, on the 29th and the 30th of January, we're in Berlin and Dessau for our first study visit. The first one was at Bauhaus for Earth, and we also had a COP meeting on the first day, and the second day we attended the conference in Dessau, which explored a little bit more basically the origin of the Bauhaus, the materials. It was quite a technical conference for experts on the subject matter, let's say, but still nevertheless quite an interesting one. We received just yesterday the presentation from Bauhaus Earth, so I will upload it on the platform in the next couple of days. So you also have that as a reference. I don't know if those that attended in Berlin, if they want to add anything or share some thoughts, feel free to do so, of course. I don't see you guys, so feel free to unmute yourself if you want to say anything.
After the visit, I was studying the books that I bought there in Bauhaus in the library, and
Yeah.
I understood that the students and the movement, it was a very it was not only studying architecture but living in a joyful way. So maybe us we brought to the conference this kind of different and more relaxed way to be in the in the conference, and I think it was not only valuable for us but maybe for them too. And okay, for me, it was technical, but it was interesting. I understand that for persons that are not from architecture or landscape architecture, it was a little too much. So
maybe a bit inaccessible on some fronts, but still an experience, I would argue. Yeah.
Yes. And for instance, for Dominic, I was very interested in giving more tips for SCMS, but I don't know if the other persons of the COP would like to have more tips from me about after the show.
Claudia, no worries, no worries. The intention behind was good, and of course, we only found out on the day that it was a bit more for architects, let's say, but it was an experience nevertheless. Anybody else? All right, then maybe we dive in the next activities. So as you know, what is coming next is definitely the annual event. We will open registration soon, but it will be on the 12th of May in Brussels, or I didn't put it in here, but I think you all know it's going to be in Brussels. And it was decided in the last time that we met, it was decided that we would not have a COP meeting there, like back to the annual event, but rather we will meet in Brussels again in June, back to the NEB festival, basically. Those that were with us in Berlin, they know that the application to the NEB Festival Fair was not accepted, but I just thought I would also share it here with the others that could not attend in Berlin. So unfortunately, our application didn't go through. We are, however, following up with the representatives of the JRC for the networking event that we were reached out about back in December, and our potential inclusion of the public buyers of this COP in the forum program. But this is all a bit, I would say, pending confirmation from their side. But I just wanted to let you know that we are on it and we are following up. I just think their program is still a work in progress. That's the way I'm perceiving it, at least. And of course, there will be this matchmaking event happening back to back to the NEB Festival. What I wanted to ask you, because this was something that was discussed in Berlin, to decide basically when to go to the NEB Festival, because of course they are gonna do it for a whole week, but we as a community, we're not going for the full week, but rather we would pick maybe 1.5 or 2 days where we can attend, and where we can also have our COP meeting, basically. So this is a bit up to you whether you would like to already set up the date, also based on this proposal of the matchmaking event, or you rather wait until the program is out. Both options are of course valid, but it's a bit up to you to tell us what you would prefer.
In my case, I think it's better for wait for the program. I don't know, because we can choose preferably the day. So I prefer to postpone the decision from our side.
Okay.
Yes, but for us, I understood that it's better maybe between 9 and 11. Be there in 10, 11. It's good for us, but we can do the decision after. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? I don't see you guys, so feel free to just unmute yourself. Okay. I would say then that we wait for the program to come out. We will monitor it. Once it is out, I will send you an email and see how to. We'll have a sort of doodle with the preferred dates and then choose based on that. Is that okay?
Yes, but I'd like to know one thing. How many days are we going to be there in this event?
Of course, you can.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, a day and a half, 2 days, Claudia, that will be our stand. But of course, if you want to stay a week, you of course can. I personally, I mean, as we always do the study visits, 1.5, 2 days, because 3-4 days, it's already quite long. Of course, we can take a look at the program and assess, right? This is not written in stone, so it's flexible, but that would be usually what we would do. And then we see.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Then another point that we wanted to discuss with you today was a potential training or capacity building. So we had included in our roadmap basically our potential training to address any challenges that you might have on any given topic. I don't know if you remember, but back at the beginning, I think it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, we did a training on financing, funding. So I was wondering whether you would be interested. We can also send a request basically over emails, just so it reaches everybody. But this is just an opportunity for an initial brainstorming here to see whether this is something you would like to have, like another session, not necessarily on financing, it could be on something else, with an expert before the end of the project. So it will be by possibly this year, basically by the end of the year, maybe around September or so. So if there's a topic that comes to mind, feel free to even just unmute yourself now and say so. Or if you think there's no need at all, then we could think of doing something else, basically. But just so we are on track with our roadmap and we assess basically based on needs.
Maybe we can think about it a little, but what comes to my mind is what's going to happen after the horizon, because we know that the horizon is closing. The new opportunities in funding, I don't know if it's possible to have more information about that.
So you would still like something on funding? Am I understanding you well?
Yes, but the next opportunities, the new opportunities after the horizon.
The way I would see this, though, is this will be more an info session rather than a training, no?
Maybe, yes. I don't know.
Which is also valuable. I'm just trying to understand the direction.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the first thing. Maybe we can think about it more and reflect a little, and then we send an email.
Yeah, of course. This is just an initial space for discussion, but of course one can definitely think about it. Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody else that has maybe a thought or something relevant for this point?
I think trainings are always positive if if the issue that we are approaching is really interesting for the organizations involved. So I don't want to, from my point of view, I can come to my mind a few things that I can put it in writing, but I think it should be something for all the organizations present that is positive for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I said I have to maybe sustainability or something related to or process of co-creation. I think it's also important how to build process in co-creation, because nowadays for many challenges the co-creation is somehow an answer for. But I think it should be not very theoretical, more hands-on program, more kind of practical training. But I have to take a little bit while to think about
of course, absolutely.
Like this.
I will send an email in the coming days with a bit of a summary of what was discussed, and then you will also have the possibility to think about it a bit more and send your thoughts. There's time, of course, but if we're looking for a specific expert, it's always good to have that already in the pipeline, basically, to work on it beforehand. All right, anybody else on this, or we move to the last point? The last point being the study visit in Canton. Maybe I put the tentative planning here. Elisa or Luigi, I would like you to step in here, because this is something that Nicole said she would check internally. I don't know whether this was done or not.
Hi. Nicole isn't here now, but we are thinking about a possible program of the study visit. And I asked to you because in the first part of October in Canton take place the Wood Festival, and so
Wood Festival.
Yes, it could be interesting for you, because all the buildings are with exhibitions, and so you can see something about the tradition of Canton with wood and the lace works. And so if instead of November we could do the study visit in the first part of October, I don't know, I ask you, but so it could be more interesting.
Can you give us dates for this? Because we would have to check
Yes.
internally also on our side whether this is we can organize it in October.
Okay, now I see the calendar, and then I can send you a possible program.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because on these days also we can visit school Melotti, and we have a project in the school. We are now design, but the students will be able to present the collection of wood pieces that is in the school, and so it could be interesting. Do that. And so if you are we will prepare a possible program, and then we share with you.
Okay, yeah, let's do it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And then we can decide.
Perfect. Perfect. Let's read that like that then. I guess even if we go without, let's say without the wood festival, it will still be possible in November. Can we keep that as also still within the options?
Yes, it could be an option.
Okay. Sounds good. Perfect then. I don't know if there's any other business that you would like to discuss together.
I was thinking maybe the weather. I don't know what I don't know the weather in Canton, but maybe it's better in October than in November. I don't know. It's just a thought. I don't know. Mari would know.
Yes, the weather is more fine in in October. Yes. In November it could be cold.
Well noted. All right. Definitely it's gonna be better than Berlin in January, no doubt. Yeah. All right. Very well. Any last point before we go have our lunch break? All right then. Thank you so much, Delfina. By the way, she left. She had to leave the meeting before the closing, but sends her regards. And thank you so much for your time today. I hope you could get some inspiration at least from the presentation at the beginning. And as I said, I will send an email summarizing everything. So you can do your brainstorming and see how to proceed. Thank you, Dom, also for joining, and we'll be in touch.
And see us in Brussels. So
Yes, indeed.
okay. Thank you, Mara.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Mara.
Ciao, Mara.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.